From 1936 to 1939, Spain was engulfed in a bloody civil war. On the one hand, the nationalists and fascists who fought for Francisco Franco against the Republicans, and then the Republicans who fought against the rebels for control of power in Spain. The conflict was very important for the history of Spain, as it was a war between classes, religions, and very different views of life and ideas of government. Revolution and counter-revolution. It began when a group of generals of the Second Republic's army declared a pronunciamiento, a declaration of opposition against the government, which started a coup for power in Spain. The rebels were successful in many cities of the north and in the east of Andalusia, but in places like Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Malaga and Bilbao, the rebels failed, and so began a civil war between the divided parts of Spain. For the next 3 years, millions of Spaniards would fight against one another in many campaigns and battles. However, the story of the Spanish Civil War is an incomplete one without acknowledging the role of foreigners. Tens of thousands of non-Spanish men and women went to Spain to help fight for both the Republicans and Nationalists. To begin with, we're going to have a look at the foreigners who fought for the Republicans. The International Brigades were paramilitary communist organizations, which were sent to Spain with the help of the Soviet Union and the Comintern. 30,000 to 35,000 internationals fought in more than 30 international brigades between 1936 and 1938. But from which nations did they come to fight? The majority of the volunteers were Frenchmen and Italians. A little under 10,000 Frenchmen went to Spain to fight in the international brigades in groups such as the André Marty Bataillon, Commune de Paris Bataillon, and the Henri Barbusse Bataillon. Around 3,000 Italians joined the Republicans and formed battalions like the Battaglione Figlio and the Battaglione Garibaldi. Many British and Italian communists went to Spain as well. 2,500 Britons fought in the international brigade called British Battalion. 14 years earlier, in 1922, Ireland won her independence from Great Britain, and Irishmen from both America and Ireland joined the British and Lincoln battalions respectively. For Germans and Austrians, the situation was rather more complicated, as the leader of Germany at the time, Adolf Hitler, was an ally of Franco and the Nationalists, so the volunteers who went to Spain, just as those from the other countries, were on the far left of the political spectrum, communists, anarchists and socialists for example. The Germans formed the Thälmann Battalion, which was named after the communist politician from the German KPD party before the Nazis took power in 1933, Ernst Thälmann. In 1938, Nazi Germany annexed Austria, but even so, 1,500 Austrians went to Spain to form the 12. Februar Battalion. Many Belgians, around 1,600, formed the Bataillon 6 Février with a few Frenchmen involved. 628 Dutchmen also went to Spain to help the international brigades and formed the Compagnie des Zeven Provinciën, and partially helped to form the Chapayev, Nine Nations Battalion and Edgar André Battalion. Volunteers from many other countries also came to Spain to fight in the international brigades and defend the Republic. However, for many who returned home afterwards, the war had not ended. In the majority of countries to which the volunteers returned home, they became heroes as their governments would be at war with the allies of the Nationalists, Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, when the former invaded Poland in 1933. In Canada, Switzerland and the US, the soldiers who returned were treated with suspicion and were watched and were blocked from joining military service. For Dutch and Belgian volunteers, they lost their citizenships because they had fought for a foreign army. However, in some countries it was very different. For example, the soldiers who had fought for the Republic who were German or Italian because their countries were the aforementioned allies of the Nationalists. For the majority of the returning soldiers from Europe, their countries would soon find themselves invaded in the Second World War, and many of those who fought for the Republic were sent to concentration camps by the Nazis. Now for the foreigners who fought for the Nationalists. There were people from other countries who went to Spain to fight, but far fewer than those who went to fight for the Republicans. As well as this, the governments of a few countries aided the Nationalists both in secret and in the open. I'll begin with Nazi Germany. At the time, Germany was ruled by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, so naturally Hitler supported the Nationalists and Franco, who shared similar ideas. Nazi Germany sent many bombers and transported the Nationalist Army of North Africa to Spain so that they could take part in the war. German bombers called the Condor Legion bombarded the culturally significant Basque town of Guernica. Pablo Picasso would later paint his famous work of the same name, showing the horror in the wake of the attack. Throughout much of the war, the Germans helped the Nationalists from the air, and more than 500,000 Spanish soldiers were trained by German instructors. Now for the role of the Italians. Like Franco, the dictator of Italy, Benito Mussolini was a staunch fascist and supported the nationalists in the Spanish Civil War. Italy sent the Corpo Truppe Volontari, composed of 60,000 Italian soldiers, to Spain to help the nationalists against the Second Republic. Both Mussolini and Franco were large supporters of the Catholic Church, and Mussolini used the fact the Republicans attacked priests and nuns as ammunition for his propaganda. As well as this, the Italian Navy and Air Force fought in Spain alongside the nationalists, and also stopped rations and supplies entering Republican ports. In the time of the Second Republic, Portugal and her closest neighbour had a tenuous and often tense relationship, and so when the war broke out, the Portuguese quickly supported the nationalist rebels. Los Viriatos were a band of Portuguese volunteers, made up of around 10,000 soldiers who helped the nationalist troops in Spain. Furthermore, Portugal sent many supplies over the border, munitions, firearms, bullets, to aid the nationalist soldiers and civilians. Just as with the Republicans, there were also people who came over to fight from other countries in International Brigades. An Irish fascist group called the Blue Shirts went to Spain to fight for the nationalists under the command of Owen O'Duffy as the Irish Brigade. This is the flag of the Blue Shirts. 500 French volunteers went to Spain in the Jeanne d'Arc Company. There were also 10,000 soldiers from other countries like the USA, Brazil, Belgium, Great Britain, Spanish Guinea, Norway and Australia. Thanks very much for watching my video about the role of foreigners in the Spanish Civil War. It's something else. I haven't really covered much 20th century history, although I do with Weimar, but this is my first time leaving Germany in this century. So let me know if you have enjoyed this. Now in the future I do plan to make more videos about sort of the Spanish Civil War. Not too many. I'll be returning to obviously other areas of history as well, but it's quite an interesting one. It's in many ways it's a foreshadowing of what is to come in the Second World War, but then it's also very different as well. And I hope you're going to enjoy these new videos, and that you have enjoyed this video as well. So if you're interested to see any more, then just click on the links to other videos, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'm History with Hilbert, and I'll see you again soon.